Hello everybody, discussion of today, it's probably going to be long. It's about parasites, how to eradicate parasites, how to get rid of parasites. I am not a doctor, so I will not be discussing medical terms or medication. If you want to do that, consult your practitioner, your doctor. However, I will be sharing natural ways and natural foods to get rid of parasitic infections. And when I talk about parasites, I talk about all kinds of parasitic infections, because parasites are the largest organisms in the body, and they create a layer of protection which is called biofilm. And in that layer of protection, there is a lot residing there. Viruses, bad bacteria, mold, heavy metals, glyphosates, toxins, candida, fungus, yeast, so on. So when I talk about these infections, it's everything. Because people are saying, oh, how do I deal with candida? How do I deal with just deal with parasitic infections. And this is the thing. When I aimed for parasites, I got rid of a lot of issues. Candida, heavy metal toxicity, fungus, mold, bad bacteria, a lot of things, toxins, a lot of things. Parasites and toxins are the main causes for what's going on in the world in a bad way this day. Parasites and toxins. The level of toxins are increasing every single day. In 2008, we have about, I believe, 10 toxins per cell, which is huge. And in 2018, we had 500 toxins per cell. Incredible. These days, we don't know. So imagine our bodies are basically, we're swimming in an ocean of toxins, okay? So it's very important to, number one, get rid of toxins and then getting rid of these parasitic infections. Now, parasites, as I mentioned, are the largest organisms and they thrive in low frequencies. On the scale of consciousness from 0 to 1,000, that's a good book on that. The lowest vibrations are the vibrations of guilt, fear, blame, shame, blaming, shame, procrastination. Those are the low vibrations, okay? The higher vibrations are the vibrations of love, joy, and peace and gratitude. So parasites will thrive in low vibrations. Why? Parasites are organisms. They're live organisms. They have frequencies, and the parasites it's a negative vibration. When I heal a parasite, what a parasite does, it keeps robbing you of nutrients, right? It keeps robbing you of the good stuff, of the good way, even the good thoughts. So parasites are bad in nature, right? For the lack of a better term. So of course they will vibrate at very, very low frequencies. So in order to kind of help your consciousness to get rid of parasites, not only using natural foods and natural methods and natural ways, but you also need to address your mind. And in order to address your mind, what can you do? You have to figure it out. Okay, am I in the low vibration right now or in a high vibration? Am I feeding parasites or am I getting rid of parasites? That's very important, because in order to get rid of parasites, you need 4 things. You need a strong mindset. You need to work on your emotions. So you need to get rid of the trauma, emotional trauma that we all have from the past. You need to have a spiritual connection, whatever that spiritual connection might be. Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness, God consciousness, whatever it is, you need to have a strong connection, especially hope. The vibration of hope is very high. We lose hope, we lose everything. So the vibration is of hope, it's pretty high. So connection with a higher power, a higher entity, the source of all that is, that's spiritual, is very important. And 4th, we need to address the physical body. Okay, so for the mindset, we need strong connection with, as I mentioned, with our frequencies, to continuously ask ourselves, what kind of vibration am I in right now? And am I feeding the parasites, right? Low vibrations, or am I destroying the parasites? Or you can ask yourself this, am I feeding the parasites or am I feeding the good guys, the good microbiome, the good bacteria in the gut? Because most of the parasites, parasitic infections, live in the gut. Probably 70 to 80% of parasitic infections live in the gut. They reside in the gut, they reside in your colon. Your intestines are huge, so they reside in the intestinal lining, and they create a layer of protection, which is called biofilm, that resides on the lining of your intestines, your colon. And in that layer of protection, everything resides there. All the bad guys, okay? In other words, large parasites, viruses, fungus, molds, candida, bacteria, heavy metals, glyphosates, all toxins, they all reside there. So in the biofilm, so I have another video about the biofilm, and I strongly suggest you watch that video because I mentioned how to do it and what is the biofilm. It's really, really important discussion about parasites if you really want to understand parasites and how to, deal with those. So in that layer of protection in the biofilm, you need to get rid of that biofilm. So when you get rid of that biofilm, you get rid of a lot of bad stuff. And what you want to do, you want to increase the good bacteria in the gut, because what's happening in our gut is as within, so without. That saying is like, what's going on in our gut? It's basically telling us what's happening outside of us. So for example, if the gut is full of parasitic infections, we don't function well. Our liver doesn't function well. Our brain doesn't function well. Our emotions, our spiritual connection, everything is kind of like blocked. It's not flowing, flowing properly. So we really need to take care of that from the physical point of view and then I'm going to talk about spiritual, emotional, and so on. But physical point, we need, number one, to feed the good bacteria. In other words, we need to get rid of the bad foods and foods that are feeding the parasites, and we need to introduce the good foods that are feeding the good bacteria. Because as I mentioned, it's a battle in our gut. It's the battle for our gut, is the battle for our health. And parasites will do whatever it takes to stay inside. And because of that, we need to increase the fermented foods, which are the probiotics. That's a very important thing. So we can feed the good guys, we can feed the good bacteria. That's very important. But in order to do that, we also need the prebiotics. So basically two things we need. We need prebiotics and probiotics. Probiotics are the fermented foods. People buy probiotics as a supplement. I used to buy them before, they didn't do much. But what I use now, I use fermented foods, and they're amazing. A lot of people are like having issues with fermented foods. Why? And I'm telling you why. Because the parasites took over. And if you introduce a good fermented food there, parasites will do whatever it takes to just take the good food out, the fermented food out, and they will react. That's the problem. However, you need to start introducing small amounts, yeah? And in order to feed the good bacteria, the gut, the probiotics in your gut, you need the prebiotics, which are basically good vegetables, fruits and vegetables, and all the good food in order to feed the gut. So, in other words, quit eating junk food and drinking soda. That's very important. This is extremely, extremely important. And start cooking from the scratch. If we go out, they cook with cheap oils that are very detrimental to our health, and it feeds parasites. All these bad foods like sugar, bread and pastas and all these things are feeding parasites, especially toxins. Toxins in the food will feed parasites and parasitic infections. So start, and I know it's a long journey and it's not easy because a lot of people got used with the idea of eating out and eating all kinds of food, which is detrimental. Our food is being polluted, it's toxic. So we need to start educating ourselves, and we need to start eating organic, and we need to go to farmers markets and talk to the people, maybe just grow our own foods, start researching. And let me tell you this, a lot of people will say, yes, but it's always like a but. Do the work, okay? If you're putting it out in the universe, if you're doing the prayer, whatever it is, it will be delivered to you. Trust me, it's the law of attraction. It works like that. Maybe law of manifestation. It's very important. So education is number one. Now, we talk about prebiotics, we talk about probiotics, okay? Fermented foods. I ferment my own food. They're very yum, and they feed the good guys, the good bacteria. Enemas. It's the next one. So we talk about foods, we talk the prebiotics, probiotics, enemas. A lot of people are like, no, 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 I'm not going to do the enema. I was one of them. I'm not going to do that thing. No, no, no. However, you got to work with your mindset and you start doing the enemas. Why? Because when we do the enemas, we break the biofilm, the layer of protection, the house where the parasites reside. And when we do that, we get rid of a lot of parasites and parasitic infections. Actually, I have a program. I have a liver detox course and I have a parasite cleanse course. And in the parasite cleanse course, I talk about all this in detail, in depth, and step by step. And we also have a group for support, questions and answers and everything, and sometimes calls, classes. So people ask this question a lot. Lily, I have an issue doing the enemas. I cannot do the enemas. It requires a strong mindset. I'm telling you how many people don't want to do. I postponed my enema for so many years because for me it was impossible. I'm not going to do that. Plus I was afraid. A lot of people are afraid. If you do it safe, it's great. But again, if you're afraid, consult with your doctor. However, in my program, the way we address the mindset. We slowly increase the amount of information, so people start to get how they speak, at ease and at peace with the idea of introducing the enemas. Plus, not only that, but in my course I teach how to make your own suppositories, so at least you start with something. You start with something and slowly increase. Each with parasites and in general with detoxification or anything, you have to start small and increase gradually. This is the way you build success. If you are trying to just kill parasites, like I've tried with the enema from the beginning, and I thought that I was going to end up in the emergency room because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, basically, then I don't suggest doing that, because I was like that. I want it now. I want the quick fix pill. That's it. It's impossible. I want to get rid of them. No, it's going to take a little bit of time. All you need is patience. It's very important to have patience, because parasites are there for a long time and they took over your gut, they took over your body, and they take over your mind and emotions. So you have to be at peace. You have to increase the vibration of peace. Remember, we talk about the higher consciousness. Higher consciousness is the vibration of peace, love, and joy. These are very important. Though these are the vibrations that parasites hate and the good bacteria in the gut love. So it's important. So this is the idea of mindset. You have to have a strong mindset in order to feed the good bacteria. Okay. So going back to the physical, so we discussed prebiotics, probiotics, we discussed enemas, very important. Now, binders. Binders are very important. What are the binders? These are the minerals that help to escort toxins out of your body. This is very important. When we eradicate parasites, they release toxins. When they lay eggs, they release toxins. Parasites poop inside your body. You have to release also their toxins inside the body. That's why it's important. Not only enemas, enemas will release a lot of toxins, which is great, but also when you do the enemas, it's important to have binders. Binders are the ones that are responsible for mopping the toxins out of your body. For example, activated charcoal, bentonite clay, chlorella, zeolites. These are the kind of binders that you need to take when you cleanse parasites, when you mop parasites out. That's very important. Also, things that will help to cleanse parasites is the foods. So again, we get rid of the bad foods like sugars and processed foods and all these pasta and sodas and all this, like, crappy foods basically. And then we start cooking from the scratch with as organic as possible, as natural as possible, growing your own foods, eating less. This is very important. That's why intermittent fasting is also a great addition for any type of detoxification and part of life. Okay. And introducing foods like, for example, I have another video about 10 foods that will eradicate parasites. So I want you to watch that video also because it's very important. But some of the foods, for example, garlic. Some people say that garlic, I just heard the comment, garlic kills the bad bacteria. That's not what it is. Garlic, it's amazing. It kills parasites. Also, oil of oregano kills parasites. But if you're afraid that you are going to kill the good bacteria, then introduce fermented foods, the probiotics. Remember, we talk about prebiotics and probiotics because it's important to also feed the good bacteria. Not only get rid of parasites, but at the same time feed the good bacteria. So they take over, the good bacteria takes over. Because the immune system lives in the gut, it's 70 to 80% of the immune system living in the gut. But microbiome and parasites and good bacteria reside in the gut. So that we are more microbes than we are cells. So that's very important. That's why it's the battle here is the battle of the microbes, basically. And okay, so going back to the herbs, I have another video on how to make your own anti-parasitic herbal tinctures. I make mine, especially use it not only during the full moons. There is another video for the full moon, but you have to go when you cleanse parasites, you gotta go on cycles, and you have to hit them from all angles. That's very important. That's why I'm mentioning everything in this video. Going back to herbs, we mentioned oil of oregano, we mentioned garlic, wormwood, black walnut, turmeric, ginger, cloves. Watch the other video on herbs and foods that kill parasites. That's very important. But that's not only that. So that's the entire thing that we have to address physical bodies, like we mentioned. And remember, we discussed also intermittent fasting, which is great because it really cleanses the cell. But what I noticed is that intermittent fasting will not kill the parasites. That's for sure. However, it's a great help, great addition of detoxification, body detoxing. That's what I want to mention about the body. So that's the way you cleanse parasites. You cleanse your body of parasites. But going back to mindset and going back to emotions and going back to spiritual connection, we are holistic beings. If, for example, you are just treating the physical body, let me tell you this, you're not going to be successful, because we are more than that. Maybe you're going to be successful for a while, but eventually you need all the information that is at the spiritual level, the emotional level, as well as the mindset. Actually, in my programs, and I have a program for liver detoxification and the other one for parasites, I address mindset first, and then we move into the physical body, and then we address emotions. This is the way I build the entire program, because it's important to treat the entire issue in a holistic way, not just one way. For example, the mindset, as I mentioned, you cannot be successful if the lower mind keeps bugging you, keeps telling you, and keeps delaying you, or telling you, you cannot heal, I'm afraid of this, all these things, or like blaming and shaming or complaining or procrastinating all the time. This is going to feed the parasitic infections, because parasites are organisms, they have a frequency, they feed on low vibrations, low frequencies. So if you catch yourself in a procrastination mode or complaining or anything like that, just stop and then move. Okay, what's the vibrations that are helping me? The vibration of love and joy and so on. So that's from the mind point of view. You gotta kind of like catch yourself and work with your mind, because if the parasites are taking over the body, are also taking over the mind. That's why, especially during the full moons, people are going crazy. They're called lunatics, right? Parasites will leave a lot of residue, a lot of toxins, and they cross the blood-brain barrier, and then they go straight to all these toxins go to the brain, and then people behave like crazy. So it's a connection with that. So that's why it's very important to kind of like do some mindset work. I had someone just ask me a question. Oh, I want your program, but I don't want the mindset. Can you just... No. That's the most important thing. The mindset is the important thing. The first thing first, you have to address the mindset. Without that, you cannot do anything. There are people that start the things, but because the mindset is not strong, they will not finish. Or some people are just afraid, and they will just never gonna go on a journey of detoxification or healing, right? So that's why mindset is number one. I love it. It's the number one thing. And then emotions. We need to address emotions. That's very important, because for example, from the emotional point of view, parasites and parasitic infections, they have to do with the idea of holding grudges, holding things inside ourselves, not letting go. of emotions and on ideas or belief systems that are really holding us back, and they interfere with our level of healing, with our how do I say, I'm just like, shall I cut the video? No, I'm gonna keep going, right? I just have like, okay. So the idea with emotions, parasites, not only the idea of letting go, but also parasites have to deal with boundaries. Like especially women or empathic people. Oh my God, empathic people and parasites. Ooh, why? Because we cannot say no, and we are pleasing others and not saying yes to ourselves and saying no to others. We start saying no to others, not from a narcissistic point of view, but respect for ourselves and for others. So that's what the parasites are, because parasites are inside our body. We just have to say no, get out, okay? Just like that. And with other people in our life, we need to establish like strong boundaries, like saying no when we mean it, because how many times we say yes when we should say no, because we are number one, we are priority. And if we are number one and if we are priority, then we can help others, right? Other than that, it's very hard. So yeah, again, parasites are really hard to eradicate. However, that's why you need the education. Education is number one. Once you have education, education is power. Knowledge is power. The right knowledge is power. And if you apply those things, then you will not only feel better, but you will have so many aha moments. And then when we do that, parasites are amazing. Let me tell you this. And you're going to be like, what? Yes, they are amazing because they force us to evolve. They force us to take action. They force us to empower ourselves. They basically tell us indirectly to start loving ourselves. Because you know what? They need to get out, and we need to start saying no and need to start loving ourselves more and more and more, and become more aware of what's going on around us, becoming more aware of the belief systems that were detrimental for so many years, and then start like acknowledging them and then change them into better belief systems that are serving us and they are not destroying our health. This is very important. That's why it's important to have that connection with your spiritual self. That's why it's good to have hope, to really tune into yourself. So as I mentioned, parasites are just telling us that we're doing something wrong and we're on the right path when they are in our bodies. So in order to erase them, eradicate them, and delete them from our lives, we need to address mindset, we need to evolve, we need to become wiser. That's very important. It's kind of like forcing us to evolve, to grow our soul. We need to connect with spirit, connect with God, connect with the power within, with your intuition, address emotional issues that are detrimental and they are kind of like haunt us from the past. Because I do a lot of emotional work with people, and what I find out that their emotions that are present in their bodies are actually emotions from the past that were suppressed, hidden, recycled, unexpressed, that they keep recirculating in the mind, in the body, and so on. So we need to address those emotions and heal them. And the last part, it's address the physical body with good foods, with good nutrients, doing the enemas, taking care of the biofilm, doing the prebiotics, probiotics. Essential oils are great, good foods, good herbs, anti-parasitic herbs, and so on. So basically, this is a discussion about parasites. It's a long journey, but it's so empowering. This is one of my favorite subjects because it's the battle, it's a war that's happening in our world. It's the good versus bad. And people are saying, oh yeah, but duality and all this. We're human beings. We cannot be in love and light. A lot of people are used to be, nowadays they change, right? But I always like talk about the dark side, the shadow side. We have to address the shadow side. And shadow side is the parasitic infections, is the bad guys. We need to address them. And it's the battle that's going on. It's a war. What you see outside of us, it's happening inside of us. It's happening in our own guts, in the gut. And that's what they say, the intuition, it's your gut, it's your intuition, right? It's because if the gut is taking over by the bad, the dark side, we're screwed. We need to take care of that. We need to get educated. It's very important. Very, very, very super important. And then we can grow our souls. We are here to evolve. We are here to grow. We are here to have fun. Not only just pay bills and be in misery and be unwell and unhealthy. We're supposed to do that, to have high energy, to have joy, to hike the highest peaks, to dance, to have fun, to laugh with our families. We are not supposed to suffer. So it's important to get rid of these critters. It's so important, but not only the critters here, the critters up here, here, here. This is very important, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and if you are interested, strongly suggest that. Liver detox course and then parasite cleanse course. These two are absolutely incredible, incredible. We go in detail, and I cannot say that people heal, but all I can tell you is that what I'm witnessing are absolutely amazing, incredible results. Okay, so if you're inclined, links below. Other than that, stay healthy and increase your microbiome, increase your vibrations. You've got this. See you in the next one. Cheers to your health.